This week we have beautiful Venus, planet of love and relationships, moving into nurturing, sensitive Cancer at the end of the week. All of this, an empowered moment and more in my new intuitive energy forecast for the week of Monday, June 10th through Sunday, June 16th, 2024. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, starseed astrologer and spiritual messenger from Sacred Soul Empowerment, here with our intuitive energy forecast for the week. This week we'll be using the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this week, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Sacred Forest Oracle deck by Denise Lynn. So before we get into the astrology of the week or even looking at your stones of choice, let's go ahead, close our eyes, relax, settle back, and let's do an empowered moment. So let's just release and let go of all that our body, mind, and soul no longer needs. Let's take in a deep breath, exhaling that, letting your body relax even more. And we have a lot of energies coming up this week that are going to be ungrounding, that are going to be mentally all over the place. So let's focus in on grounding ourselves this week. Let's visualize, sense, see, feel, or just know that we're surrounded in gold and white light. This is the golden white light of universe, God, Goddess, all that is. Let's breathe in that protective, unconditionally loving golden white light into every cell of our bodies. And as we exhale, imagine a grounding cord coming out of your root chakra, going down deep through the layers of Earth Mother Gaia, connecting with her crystalline heart chakra in the center of the earth. And Earth Mother Gaia's crystalline heart center, heart chakra, is going to be delivering us this balancing, nurturing, loving, and healing energy to help us ground, to help us be balanced, to help us to feel at peace within ourselves. So let's take in a deep breath and breathe up and in through that grounding cord from Earth Mother Gaia's heart chakra, that peaceful, loving, nurturing energy. Breathing it all the way up through the grounding cord, and as you exhale, it's being released throughout all of your energy bodies, going up and balancing all of your chakras from root to crown, and allowing you to feel more at ease, more peaceful and calm, more comfortable and serene. Focusing on taking a couple of more deep breaths. And with each breath you take, with each exhale you give, you're feeling even more grounded, even more at peace. And asking your angels and guides to move with you, travel with you throughout the week, guiding you, protecting you, and bringing to you whatever information and messages are in your highest and best interest. One last deep, healing, cleansing, balancing breath. And when you're ready and in your own time, you can open your eyes, returning to this time and place and space. And let's go ahead and take a look at our stones of choice. Now, because we have some challenging energies this week, as I mentioned, I decided to be a little fun here and bring out some of my favorite bracelets. Well, they're all my favorite bracelets, but 3 of them anyway. So the first bracelet is going to be sodalite. This is sodalite. And because we have a lot of Gemini planets right now, a lot of energy in Gemini with the Sun and Mercury and Venus and Jupiter all in vacillating Gemini that rules the mental realm, the mental body. All of these bracelets are going to have something to do with the mental body. And this one, sodalite, helps us to unite logic with intuition, uniting logic with intuition and helping to organize the thoughts within our mind. And of course, this is a blue stone, so it's going to be relating to our throat chakra, where we are communicating and speaking our truth. Our second bracelet of choice, or stone of choice, is going to be this beautiful amber bracelet. Now, amber, this one, is going to help us with balanced decision making this week. It's going to help improve our memory if we need help with that, and helping our mind to stay flexible with our thinking processes. This, of course, relates to the solar plexus chakra, our center of personal power. Okay. And then our last stone of choice is seraphinite, this beautiful green seraphinite. And this one is going to help to awaken mental awareness. And it also does help to release some negative emotional patterns, so we'll throw that in there. And of course, this relates to the heart chakra, and that's going to help to heal any emotional wounds that we have. So again, our stones of choice are the sodalite, the amber, and the seraphinite. All right, let's put those aside here. And let's talk about the energy of the week. As I mentioned, it appears to be a little challenging. We'll see what our angels and guides have to say a little bit later about it. But on Tuesday, the 11th of June, we have Mars, the warrior planet, planet of energy, action, forward movement, passion, sometimes impatience, but he's in grounded, focused Taurus right now. So that slows down his energy movement a little bit. It helps to ground him a little bit more when it comes to like flying off the handle and being a little knee-jerk reacting or impatience. But on Tuesday, the 11th, Mars in Taurus is going to make a challenging square aspect to Pluto, planet of transformation, death and rebirth, big changes, power and control. It is a challenging connection, Mars and Pluto squaring, coming head to head with each other. The interesting thing about this is that Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. So if you think about those scorpionic energies with things that are hidden, maybe some manipulation or abusive sorts of energies, that's the shadow side of Pluto, right? That death and rebirth energy, which is a good energy, but when it's in this challenging square with Mars, and Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, so we've got modern ruler of Scorpio coming to head to head with ancient ruler of Scorpio, Mars, and that can sometimes be a little explosive. Now, they're both in fixed signs of the zodiac. Mars is in Taurus, Pluto is in Aquarius, of course. It's going to be there for quite a while, with one last stint going back into Capricorn this fall. But with the fixed signs, sometimes it's a little stubborn. It's like, I'm not giving up what I think, and this other person isn't giving up what they think, and comes kind of like a head-to-head kind of butting heads. And what happens is with the fixed signs, when there is this Mars-Pluto coming together in this explosive energy, it's like it's a buildup of energy. Now, it doesn't mean that it's playing out with relationship situations, although it could. It doesn't even mean that it's playing out in your everyday situations like money and finance or work or job or career, although that can be too. There can be some maybe frustrations or power and control issues or anger, over assertiveness happening with other people. But this can also be a transformation within yourself. Maybe you're fighting with yourself about something, basically. And, you've got two sides of you, two different thought processes or ideas or belief systems going on that are just kind of butting heads, and you're not sure what to do. So there's this internal kind of transformation that you're being pushed into. And I say that because it's a square aspect. So oftentimes with the square, with the challenging energy between the two planets involved, it's like you get pushed into something. The universe kind of like says, okay, you're not really, making any decision, or you're having this tough time between, a couple different, energies. Let's just kind of push you into something because you need change. The square is about forced change. And so the universe is asking us, or supporting us, guiding us, maybe with a heavy hand, so to speak. It's like tough love. The universe is giving us some tough love to move into some sort of change, which is going to lead to some sort of action and transformation. But for right now, it's this difficult, challenging energy. And then on Wednesday, the 12th, we also have another challenging connection. It's between Mercury and Saturn. Now, Mercury rules the mental realm, thoughts, ideas, perceptions, communications. It's in its home sign of Gemini, so there's lots of information coming in right now, and maybe a lot of vacillating information, because Gemini is this mutable, changeable, vacillating sort of energy. So maybe we've got all these different possibilities and potentials, and we're wondering which one is the right one, which decision is the right decision, which choice is the right choice, and you're getting all confused and overwhelmed by it all. But on Wednesday, it challenges Saturn, and Saturn can sometimes bring in some karmic lessons, some karmic challenges. Saturn feels like we're being restricted or limited in our communication expression or in our mental thought processes, to where we're, again, feeling a little like held back from expression, or depressed even, frustrated in some way. And Saturn is saying, what are you needing to learn? Or where are you needing to be more patient? Because Saturn is about patience as well. So think about some of those questions. Now, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I don't often talk about the moon and where the moon is at in my weekly readings, because it moves through each sign of the zodiac in 2.5 days. Every 2.5 days, it changes signs. But on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the moon is going to be in Virgo. And Virgo is a sign sometimes that deals with perfectionism. It might feel like it's about self-judgment, or you don't feel good enough, or that's not perfect enough. And it is in the emotional realm, because the moon rules our emotions and our feelings. So I feel like we might be being emotionally hard on ourselves Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And there's this perfectionism kind of self-judgment thing maybe that's occurring. And the reason I wanted to mention the moon placement for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is because it's going to challenge all of those Gemini planets. The sun is in Gemini, Venus is in Gemini, Mercury is in Gemini, and Jupiter is in Gemini. And it's going to challenge all of that Gemini mental energy. And Virgo is kind of a mental sign as well. Even though it's an earth sign, it also deals with the mental realm and our thought processes and how we think about things and analyzing things. And also that moon in Virgo is going to oppose Saturn and Neptune, which are both in Pisces. So I feel like there's a lot going on right there with our emotions and our thoughts, where it's kind of this, ebb and flow of push-pull energy, and not knowing, what to think or what to believe, or our feelings are kind of, a little bit all over the place. We're feeling a little emotionally and mentally challenged. And then on Friday, the 14th, we've got the sun coming together with Mercury. Now, they're both in Gemini. This can highlight communication of all kinds, speaking, teaching, writing, texting, telephone calls, Zoom calls, networking, connections with other people. So watch for the messages and watch for the information that's coming in. This can also be about like researching the information, where you're looking for clues or you're looking for ideas through articles that you read or things that you're listening to, a podcast or whatnot. So all forms of this information and messages is something to pay attention to. On Sunday, the 16th, to end the week, we've got Venus in Gemini. Venus rules love, relationships, money, and finances. She's in vacillating Gemini right now, but Gemini is also about lots of possibilities. But she's in a challenging square to Neptune, and Neptune rules the spiritual realm. Neptune rules illusion, delusion, and confusion on the shadow end of things. Now, of course, there's positive aspects to Neptune, the spiritual realm, connection with our angels and guides, our psychic abilities, miracles and magic to me kind of is in that spiritual realm category. But this is a challenging connection with Venus and Neptune. So I just feel like it's almost like being dazed and confused about relationships and decisions and choices to make there. Dazed and confused about maybe money matters, because Venus also does rule personal resources, where again, there's some interesting things happening, or we're feeling mentally pulled in this direction and that direction, or we're really, really busy. All this Gemini energy gets really, really busy, where there's a lot of things to do, a lot of hats to wear, a lot of circumstances to juggle, and it can just get a little overwhelming. Now, after Venus connects with Neptune in that challenging square, they're both at the last degree of their respective signs. So Venus also on Sunday will then move into the next sign of the zodiac, which is Cancer. And she'll stay in Cancer until July 11th. So now we have Venus, love, relationships, money and finances, our sense of self-value, our sense of self-worth, moving into sensitive, nurturing, loving, kind Cancer. And Cancer rules home and family matters. And so as we move through the 16th of this month until the 11th of July, there might be some things regarding home and family, because then of course other planets will eventually follow suit and move into Cancer as well. So there'll be more of a focus coming up with home and family related issues. Okay. Also, one other thing to mention is when I talked about the moon in Virgo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the challenges to the Gemini planets and the challenges to the Pisces planets, also Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we've got all those Gemini planets, or at least we've got Venus, Sun, and Mercury, not necessarily Jupiter, but Venus, Sun, and Mercury. And Venus is love and relationships, money and finances. The sun is our self-expression, our ego, and how we shine our light. Mercury rules thoughts, ideas, perceptions, communications. They're all in a positive sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer and shaman. And Chiron is helping us. This is actually a positive connection here. There's an opportunity to bring healing to these areas of life. All the areas of life that we just previously said might be challenged this week. There's also this potential and opportunity to bring healing. And the key to the healing, and Chiron, actually one of Chiron's key words is the key. So one of the keys to the healing with Chiron this week is to really tune into what needs do I have, or what desires do I have, or what's really going to assist me in moving back into my confidence, my courage, my independence, my sense of self. And if you keep that in mind as the key to some of the healing here, I feel like you'll be able to get to where you want to go. It's about healing the self, right? This is about healing the self. And it's through shifting your thought processes, or through looking at something from a different perspective, or through having that communication with somebody that you might need to clear the air with or be open and honest with. All of these things are ruled by Gemini, and hence they would be helpful, as far as communication is concerned. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the messages from our angels and guides from the Light Seers Tarot. And we had 3 cards, but then we had a card that kind of is the overall. It kind of flipped out, and I asked Spirit, if that was part of the reading, and kind of through, going through and listening to what Spirit was saying. One of the cards was kind of the overall focus card. So we're going to start with the 3 cards first and then look at that overall focus card at the end. So the first card is the 5 of Wands. And the number 5 in numerology sometimes can be about confusion and chaos and a lot of things happening all at once, feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It can be about networking. It can be about opportunities. But if you look at the image here, the 5 of Wands, there's 5 people here. None of them are working together. So they're all like doing their own thing or trying their own thing, looking in various directions. We even have one person down here that's almost reaching up for help, but the other person's got his back to them. And so again, that's all this scattered energy, and nobody's coming together in cohesiveness to work together or help one another. Sometimes the 5 of Wands can be about competition. It's like people feeling like they're in competition with one another, and they're not collaborating together or working together. They all want to do their own thing. So the energy becomes scattered, where if they just work together, they could make something work a little bit better. They could make something more cohesive. Now, this could be an energy within yourself to where you just feel pushed and pulled, all over the place, and you're feeling a little bit scattered. You're feeling a little bit ungrounded. If you can focus the energy, there can actually be a great sense of creativity here, a great sense of a lot of things getting accomplished, but it would mean that you have to figure out a way to become grounded and focused in the energy. So whether this is scattered energy within you, overwhelming, frustrating energy within you, or whether this is about other people within your work or career or family or friends, or even in your interpersonal relationships, there just seems to be a lot of separation energy or confusion and chaotic or overwhelming energies that are occurring. So that kind of relates to a lot of the astrological energy that we talked about a little bit earlier on. But let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. Okay, the next card is the 2 of Swords. And the sword suit is the suit of the mind, the suit of the mental realm. And you could see this person is blindfolded, and we've got like these, crows here that are kind of like tying this blindfold on her, keeping it held tight there to where she can't really see with her physical eyes anyway what's going on. And she feels like she's a little bit disturbed, by these crows that are flying around her, and she wants to be able to see the reality that's out in front of her. She wants to have some balance, because that number 2 in numerology is about balance and peace and harmony. But I feel like here there's a lack of balance, peace, and harmony, right? And this is about either not wanting to see reality. Maybe you don't want to see what's in front of you. You're trying to avoid seeing something that's in front of you because maybe it's too hard to see, or it would mean that you have to take some sort of action to do something, and maybe you're not ready for that yet. But either way, this is sometimes in the traditional tarot about a choice that needs to be made. Oftentimes we see the 2 of Swords where there's 2 swords and they're crossed like this, and the person's holding the 2 swords up. And so this can be about needing to make a decision, or there's 2 choices that you have to figure out, and and make some sort of effort to figure out which direction is the right direction. But with this imagery, I feel like we don't really want to even look at it. I feel like we're feeling like, a little frustrated, a little overwhelmed, a little annoyed even. And these crows are bringing us messages. And maybe the crows are even trying to take the blindfold off. I don't know. They're attached to these cords, and the cords are attached to the blindfold. So maybe the crows are trying to remove the blindfold, and maybe she's trying to stop them. I mean, who knows? But this is about seeing something that maybe you don't want to see, or making a decision that is difficult to make. All right. And I don't know with the energy going on this week that we're going to actually make the decision this week, but let's take a look at the last card and see what it says. Okay, so the last card is the Eight of Cups. And this is the suit of emotions and feelings. And the number 8 in numerology is about, well, it can be about money and career and finances. It can be about power and control, but it's also about empowerment or taking your power back. And that's typically what the Eight of Cups is about. You can see this woman kind of walking away. She's turned her back on whatever this emotional situation is, because the water signifies the emotions. So she's turning her back on whatever this emotional situation is. She's had enough. She's maybe felt disempowered. And she's moving towards a new dawn. Here's the sun rising up over the horizon. She's moving to new and maybe better horizons, most likely better horizons. That's typically what the card is. It's like, let's leave the past behind and let's move towards something brighter here. And the number 8 in numerology does also deal with karmic lessons. And so whatever she's leaving behind here, whatever this emotional attachment is situationally, or to a belief system or an idea, or even in relationship matters, she's felt disempowered and she's ready to move on. So this comes at the end of the week. And I don't know if, again, are we ready to move on by the end of this week, or are we getting close to getting there? But this is definitely about needing to take back your power and empower yourself again. Again, there could be something with career, job, money, finances going on. There could be some power and control, again, issues with other people that we're emotionally connected to as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that overall focus card. And it was the Queen of Swords that fell out. So the Queen of Swords, the Queen is, one of the two top, what's the word I'm looking for all of a sudden? The cards of the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. Court cards, thank you. So she's one of the two top court cards, right? The only one that comes next is the King. The masculine energy of the King is truly, kind of that masculine in charge energy. But the Queen is the feminine in charge energy. And so here's the Queen in charge of her own thoughts, because the suit of swords is about thoughts. It's about the mental realm. And she looks very calm, cool, and collected, right? She's not letting her mind run away with her. And remember, the astrology is all this Gemini energy, so that moon and that Virgo energy that's challenging all that Gemini stuff, where we can feel overwhelmed or scattered or ungrounded or confused. But she's holding it together. She's staying grounded and calm, peaceful, and she's contemplating. She's got, her hand here up to her chin, basically. She's got her sword calmly at her side, and she's going through all the information in her mind. She's thinking of new solutions, and that's a great thing to say with the Queen of Swords here. Coming up with new solutions, grounded solutions on what to do next and how to move forward. And although she might not get to the end goal or the result this week, the solutions are coming into form, and maybe she needs to write down the possible solutions and figure out which ones are the best ones to follow up on, or do some research about what's the next step. Or in doing so, in doing this research, oftentimes things start falling into place, and then we know, wow, maybe this is the right path, because things are really unfolding and falling into place for me. But I want to say the overall energy is to stay balanced in your mental mind, to stay balanced, even though this isn't an emotional card, stay balanced in your emotional body as well as your mental body. But this is really kind of looking ahead. You know, she's even looking kind of out there over the ocean. And I guess the ocean is there. I think that's the ocean. So maybe there is some emotional stuff coming up, but she's staying calm, cool, and collected. And she's just, you know, trying to figure out from a grounded place what's going to be in her highest and best interest. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the message from your angels and guides depending on your bracelet of choice. So let's give this a quick little shuffle. And that first bracelet of choice, that first stone of choice was the sodalite. Sodalite, people. Special message for sodalite. Oh, this one on top I feel like wants to come right off. And it says pine spirit. I had to read that right. Pine spirit. And it says purification. Now, we didn't mention a lot about that Mars square Pluto, except in the very beginning, astrologically speaking. To me, the pine spirit, first of all, pine essential oil comes in strongly. Those trees, you know, like pine and even maybe oak tree, or it's really the needle trees. And all of a sudden I'm kind of drawing a blank. But the trees that have the needles, like pine, they are great for purification purposes. So you could actually go out and find a pine tree and maybe meditate next to it. You know, sit next to it for a while, or gather up some of the pine needles. You know, ask the tree, can I take some of your pine needles? Maybe ground them up and use them as a olfactory kind of thing, to where you're breathing in the essence of the pine. Of course, pine essential oil does the same thing. So you could go out and get some pine essential oil, maybe, you know, cut it with a little bit of coconut oil or olive oil or something to make sure it doesn't harm your sensitive skin if you put it on. But purification is the main message here. So even like with sage or Palo Santo or any other herbs that are purification herbs, this is the idea with Mars square Pluto. It's kind of like this purification process because they both rule Scorpio. And Scorpio deals with the shadow side of our psyche, you know, the shadow side of our ego, where there needs to be a cleansing, releasing, and purification process that happens. So I feel like, especially those of you that chose the sodalite, the beginning of the week especially, to initiate some sort of a purification process. It could be as simple as meditation, asking Archangel Michael to come in and pull the cords of negativity. That would be a purification process. Or again, the herbs or the essential oils or the smudge stick, purification process. And anything else that you can think of. A detoxing bath would be a purification process. Taking a shower and seeing the negativity wash down the drain, purification process. I love that the fairy came in with that, right? Because it's a light energy, a light, happy, joyous kind of energy with the fairy here. But the pine spirit, and there is some pine trees right here. It's hard to kind of tell, but these are the tops of some pine trees here with the pine spirit that comes in, saying that purification is something you want to focus on this week. All right, let's choose the special message for the Amber people. Special message for Amber people. Amber. The one that is right here actually is feeling like it wants to come out. Toadstools and growth. This is another earthy, grounding kind of energy, right? If you think about toadstools, those mushrooms, right? Toadstools are mushrooms. And that would be, again, a very grounding energy. So it's interesting that we had pine, like a pine tree, grounding out in nature, toadstools. Of course, this is the Sacred Forest Oracle deck, so it's not surprising. But these grounding messages are helping us through all of this Gemini and the moon in Virgo, mutable, changeable, ungrounded energy. So here we've got the red toadstools. We even have a little red butterfly here, and red deals with the root chakra, our chakra of safety and security and feeling grounded. So I want to say in your meditations, work with the root chakra energy. And essential oils are coming back in. So essential oils like, all of a sudden I thought of the herb valerian root. But some of the earthy grounding root chakra essential oils, patchouli comes in, and vetiver, that's what I was trying to think of when they came in with the V. Vetiver was what I was trying to think of. So those two, and I'm sure there's many others, are grounding. I think sandalwood might even be a little grounding too, although that's also higher chakra essential oil. But there can be some grounding with those woodsy kind of essential oils that can be helpful as well. And the fact that we have the toadstools, maybe they're asking too, or giving the message of eating some grounding foods. Make sure they're healthy foods, but grounding foods. Like maybe you need to steam some root vegetables, and the root vegetables would relate to the root chakra, or maybe some of the red fruits or red vegetables, red bell pepper, for instance, or pomegranates, would be red. So kind of look at that color red as the grounding force for you this week. And the message here is about growth, soul growth and evolution. All right, and then the last stone of choice was the Seraphonite. Special message for Seraphonite people this week. Seraphonite. Okay, this one on the top is calling my attention. Guardians of the land and protection. Okay, so it has again, this feeling of earthiness, grounding, protection, which again is root chakra. We're really needing to ground with that root chakra. So all of you, no matter what your stone of choice was, I'd say in meditation, really focus on that root chakra and grounding. Maybe doing that visualization like we did at the beginning, where the cords coming out of your root chakra and plugging into Earth Mother Gaia's heart chakra and breathing up her grounded, protecting energy. So the guardians of the land, we've got kind of a buck or a stag back here as your kind of guardian, your protector guardian back here. We've got a wonderful big grounding tree here. So again, getting out in nature, sitting out in nature, especially next to a tree, sitting on the ground, hugging the tree or meditating by the tree, talking to the tree, because they are ancient spirit guardians for us. So I feel like just getting out in nature. I mean, Gemini rules kind of nature energy or the fairy realm. And even from Virgo rules nature also in a different and more grounding way. And since we have those two energies, Gemini and Virgo, kind of highlighted this week, I'd say definitely take a nature walk, get out in nature, commune with the animal kingdom, the herbal plant kingdom, the nature kingdom in any way, and it will help to ground and center you as you move throughout this week. So I want to thank all of you for watching the videos. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your support and your lovely comments. I send you all lots of love and light and many, many blessings. Namaste.